Where? All right, everybody. We are live all over the web. We are live on TikTok. We're live on Instagram. We are live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter. We're live on YouTube. We are live on LinkedIn. So, all right, everybody. So, my name is Alex. I'm the founder of Hostage Tape. We are the largest mount tape brand in the world. We've got over 100,000 users. In fact, look at this. So this is our Shopify award. So every time you hit certain milestones in Shopify, just like you do when you're YouTube, you've got a YouTube channel, right? They give out those plaques. Same kind of a thing. We've got over 100,000 customers, and this was actually from over a year ago. So we've blown way past this. We've done probably 3-4 times this since then, but we've got over 100,000 users who sleep with Hostage Tape every night. We are the official sleep aid partner of the UFC. We're partners with Placenta, which is the largest ear, nose, and throat clinic in California. So for anybody out there who questions our medical side of it, and a lot of people do, like if you've never heard of mount taping, it's really easy to question, is mount taping legit? Like, is it actually supported by doctors? Are there any studies? So it's a perfectly legitimate question. We are the #1 mount tape brand on Walmart. We're the #1 mount tape brand on Amazon. Just keep in mind that mount taping is actually banned on Amazon. And so because we're the biggest brand, we quite often get, our listings get pulled and then we just keep reposting it. So any of the other cockroaches that you see on Amazon, those copycats, they're not the real thing. Hostage Tape, we are the mount tape brand on Amazon. And we're the biggest brand on Shopify. So the biggest brand out there, folks. All right, so let's talk about who uses Hostage Tape. So people always ask, people are always interested in who's mount taping, who's using Hostage Tape. So we've got a pretty big list of some amazing creators, some amazing athletes, really well-known people who trust Hostage Tape. So Joe Rogan is probably one of the most well-known that uses us. Joe's been using us for a long time. We've been a sponsor of his pod for a while too. Erling Haaland, he is probably one of the best soccer players in the world, right? Sit down, Messi. Here comes Erling. So Erling, I'll be honest, I actually didn't know who Erling was. My team are huge soccer guys. And so when Erling had posted a story of, yes, Rogan, yep. So when Erling had posted a story of him wearing Hostage Tape, and then I started getting all these texts, people saying that Erling was posting about us, that he was using Hostage Tape, and did some research and found out, holy crap, this guy's legit. Like, again, one of the biggest soccer players in the world. We've got Mark Consuelos from Live with Kelly and Mark. Also tried you guys out at Limitless. Yes, great to see you at Limitless. If you recognize me, I was on stage. I spoke at Limitless. Beautiful, love it. I told my founder story on a stage in front of thousands of people, and that was nerve-wracking. Like, anytime you get up in front of a lot of people and you tell a story, it's always nerve-wracking. But to go up and tell my story, my personal journey, was very vulnerable. It was a very vulnerable moment, and then my family was there, my wife, my kids were there along with me to enjoy that moment. It was pretty crazy. So, okay. So Mark Consuelos, I mentioned. You can watch him pretty much every day, every morning on the Live with Kelly and Mark show. Andy Elliott, the number one sales trainer in the world. He's actually in Dubai right now. I think they're on their way back. It was Jackie's birthday, Jackie Elliott's birthday pretty recently. So if you didn't wish her a birthday, go wish Jackie a happy belated birthday. Troy Aikman, one of the greatest quarterbacks in history, Hall of Famer. You watch him. In fact, today's Monday, right? Yeah. Tonight, Monday Night Football, you're going to hear and see Troy Aikman and know that those beautiful lips, right? You know that they're being covered, right, by hostage tape every night. Okay, shout out to Troy. C-Bum, Chris Bumstead, probably one of the greatest bodybuilders. Now, I'm a huge Schwarzenegger fan. I grew up in the 80s, so I grew up watching Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I'm certainly partial to some Arnold, but it was a different era compared to what I think C-Bum competed in. Much more of a natural bodybuilder, but C-Bum, phenomenal, amazing talent, the amazing run that he's had. He's a huge hostage tape user. In fact, there's a special, I think there's a contest that's dropping maybe today with his new app that he's got. And you'll be able to win some prizes. And a couple of those prizes are going to be some bundles of hostage tape. Gary Brecka, the Superhuman Protocol. In fact, he's on his way across the world. They're going to be doing this world run tour with him and his team and his son. But he's a big hostage tape user, and he recommends it to a lot of the people that he works with. We've got Mark Bell. Mark Bell is a legend when it comes to the weightlifting. What is going on here? All right. Had to end the TikTok live. I don't know what's going on. Something weird going on with the TikTok feed. So, okay. We'll continue here. So, Mark Bell, a legend when it comes to powerlifting, weightlifting. He's the inventor of the slingshot. He's probably one of our biggest early on influencers, guys, who was exposed to hostage tape and then DM'd us and said how much he loved it. And then he started introducing hostage tape to all the different people that he knew that would come onto the podcast, his Power Project podcast. And so that was one of the early ways that we got introduced just to so many people just out there in the community, in the wellness community, and really started to give us a good name. Tom Segura. In fact, Tom Segura is Mark Bell is the reason Tom Segura started using us. I think him and his wife Christina, they use hostage tape every night. Bert Kreischer, the machine, he did a funny post just I think last month wearing hostage tape. Pete Holmes, love Pete Holmes. Pete Holmes is such a funny dude. He's got a new movie that's just coming out. It's a Christmas pageant type Christmas story movie that's really funny. My wife and I saw Pete. He was here in Minneapolis recently at a show. So he gave us tickets. I was able to see Pete in person and then meet him for the first time. I had never met Pete in person other than just on Zooms and calls and stuff. So being able to meet Pete in person was amazing. Such a sweet guy. Sebastian Maniscalco. So Sebastian, what's cool about him is, so he's on a huge tour right now, and he's touring around the country. And I'd always dreamed and hoped that one day there would be a comedian who would do a bit about hostage tape. And Sebastian did it. He has a bit about wearing hostage tape in his show that he does, and amazing. Love it. He's talked about this on his YouTube podcast also as well, but love the fact that huge major comedian like Sebastian Maniscalco. He's doing a tour, and he's talking about wearing hostage tape in his bit on stage. So Kyle and the Nelk boys and the whole Happy Dad team. So I was in a weight room in Vegas. I was at the Fountain Blue. Fountain Blue is a phenomenal hotel. And the weight room there is unbelievable. And I was in the weight room, and I'm always geared up wearing all my stuff. And Kyle and the Nelk boys walked in, and he sees me. He comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, are you the hostage tape guy?" Yeah, Sebastian's a funny dude. So Kyle goes, "Hey, are you the hostage tape guy?" I was like, "Yeah, that's me." He goes, "Oh man, I'm totally rocking hostage tape every night. Gary Brucka got me onto it because Kyle works with Brucka, and anytime I think Brucka works with somebody who he identifies as a mouth breather, he introduces hostage tape to them. And so that was a really cool moment, getting to meet Kyle, the Nelk boys. What's funny is I've been around Kyle and the Nelk boys just because we're UFC. We're part of the UFC and part of Power Slap, and those guys are huge UFC guys. They're sponsors of Power Slap and UFC because of Happy Dad. Well, actually, no. Happy Dad is a sponsor of Power Slap. It's not a sponsor of UFC, but they're huge partners with Dana and everybody there. So they're always at every event. And I've always been there, and I've seen them. Maybe they've seen me. I just never really got to meet them in person until when I finally met Kyle, because he started to use hostage tape. So that was cool. We got mentioned on the biggest Netflix reality show, Love is Blind. So Garrett was telling the girl that I got paired up with, he was like, "Hey, I do something really kind of weird. I mouth tape at night." And then he mentioned hostage tape. And I'll be honest, I don't watch that show. My wife doesn't watch that show, so we had no idea. But all of a sudden, we started getting all these texts from all these people and pictures saying we got mentioned on Love is Blind. And so then I had to go to the episode and watch that like 5-minute segment there. "Hey, Pat, what's going on, buddy?" Pat just joined. Pat's our head of partnerships. So I had to watch that piece of the show and see Garrett mention hostage tape. So that was pretty cool. A lot of athletes use hostage tape. So Sam Hubbard, he is the defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals. And if you go to his Instagram page and you see he always likes to post these shots of his face where you can see he's got a nose strip on. So he's got a hostage nasal strip on. And then he takes eye black and he blacks out underneath his eyes. And he looks like a badass. And so, hell yeah. Woo. Thank you, Pat. And so I love seeing Sam every time he posts that. And then we shout out Sam. He's absolutely a general in the hostage tape army. Follow that dude through battle. He wears our mouth tape at night when he sleeps. And what I love about when we get athletes like that is when we find that out, we'll then send them huge VIP care packages so the whole locker room can start wearing hostage tape. So I'm sure most of the Bengals locker room now is getting amazing sleep, amazing recovery because they're wearing hostage tape. Another recent one is the 49ers. I Am Ruben is asking about where can I get the Boom Boom Sticks. You can get them on our website. Go to hostagetape.com. You can get we've got our hostage nasal sticks here. These are the brought to you by Boom Boom. Okay. Hostage nasal sticks. Okay. You can get them on the website, hostagetape.com. We've got a huge Black Friday deal coming here, I think, at the end of the week that we're going to announce. It's a bundle that includes the hostage nasal sticks. So you're going to want to act fast because those are going to go. I know those are going to sell out, and then we're going to have to replace that bundle with another one. But we've got bundles with the nasal sticks that I know are going to sell out fast. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for those. Okay. But 49ers, back to the 49ers. And so one of the running backs for the 49ers, huge hostage tape wearer. And so we sent them a care package that they just got this weekend. So when they come back from Tampa Bay, they're going to all get their hostage tape. So the whole locker room, all the 49ers. So all the 49ers now are going to be getting, again, great sleep, great recovery, wearing hostage tape. So again, guys, my name is Alex. I am the founder of Hostage Tape. We are the largest mouth tape brand in the world. So Rick B says, yeah, I got my first 4 last month. Didn't think I would like the nails. Yeah. So, okay, great example. If you've never gotten these nasal sticks before, then you kind of think like, I don't know, are they that good? Do I really need it? But then when you do it, you get addicted to these things and you absolutely love it. So, all right. So Coach Kinger says, do the skippers wear hostage tape? So I don't know that the varsity, I mean, I didn't coach with the varsity team, so I don't know that there's that many of the players, but I know when my son plays on he played on the freshman team and I helped coach the freshman team. I would send him to the school with all these samples, and then all the kids started wearing hostage tape in the school. I don't think the school liked that very much. So, but yeah, I think Coach has done a phenomenal job with the varsity team. Phenomenal team. Lots of great young talent. So, all right. So Rick B said he's been using hostage tape for about 2 years, especially this time of the year when it's really essential that we're getting good air, we're breathing through our nose. If you're in a colder climate, right? We definitely don't want to be breathing in that cold, dry air into our mouth. We want to be using our nose, filtering the air, warming the air up. In fact, let's talk about that. Okay. So a lot of people always wonder, what does nose breathing even do? Like, what's the difference? Why does breathing through my nose versus breathing through my mouth even really matter? Okay. So, number one, the first major reason is that you're getting more oxygen. You're actually getting more oxygen throughout your entire body. Now, you might hear that and think, Alex, that doesn't make sense. I can breathe more air through my mouth. So why would I be getting more oxygen through my nose? And it sounds counterintuitive. So it comes down to this concept called the Bohr effect. And what that means is the more CO2 that our body has, then the better our body can use oxygen. And there's a 1-for-1 exchange, okay, of CO2 and oxygen in our body. So when oxygen comes in, then CO2 gets released. So if we don't have as much CO2, then it doesn't matter how much oxygen I'm taking in, it can't be used. Okay. And when we breathe through our mouth, we're exhaling more CO2, and then we're not able to efficiently use all the oxygen that comes in. And so by keeping our mouth shut, we're slowing down the amount of CO2 that goes out because we're nasal breathing. All right. So we're slowing down the amount of CO2 that goes out. I've got more CO2. Thus, my body can use more oxygen and get that through that my body needs. Now, number two, when you breathe through your nose, you actually trigger the release of nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a vasodilator that helps increase the blood flow, gets the blood moving throughout the body. And number three is our nose is a filter. It actually filters all the stuff out, cleans it, it warms it. Our lungs don't like cold, dry, dirty air, like when we breathe through our mouth. But when we breathe through our nose, the air gets clean because there's hairs and there's mucus, so it cleans all the crap and the bad bacteria and viruses and all that other junk out of there. But then it's also going through these things called terminates, where it goes around there, warms up, and then it humidifies it, and then it goes down into our lungs as clean, warm, humid air that then our lungs can now use to pull the oxygen out much more efficiently. And then lastly, this is one that most people don't think of, but nasal breathing protects our teeth. So when we mouth breathe, we have all this saliva that gets evaporated. It dries up. So then this good bacteria that we have in our saliva goes away. Bad bacteria forms, eats away at the enamel, increases the risk of cavities, right? And it reduces bad breath, right? If you're waking up with dragon breath because you're mouth breathing, well, it's because of that, right? You got bad bacteria that's forming and it's creating a pretty awful scene there in the morning that your partner definitely doesn't want to be a part of, right? In fact, here's a good story. So I was a mouth breather my whole life, and I always had issues with cavities in the back of my teeth because I was a mouth breather. And I'll be honest, I'm not the greatest at taking care of my teeth and going to the dentist. I take my kids to the dentist a couple times a year, but I don't really I don't floss my teeth at all. I brush my teeth the standard when I wake up and then before I go to bed. But other than that, I don't really do that much with it. So I went to the dentist for the first time in maybe at least 2 years. So it had been some time since my last visit. So I go in and I sit down, and the lady starts to look at my teeth, and she starts to pick at them and then clean them and starts to assess everything. And then, they take that measuring pick out where they measure how much your gums are receding from your teeth. And then they measure all that and they mark it down. Well, she went through, and as she's going through, so, interesting. Oh, that's interesting. So as she went through the rest of my teeth, it turns out that my gums and my teeth were healthier than they were 2 years ago when I was in there. So think about that. Hadn't flossed my teeth. I don't really floss my teeth that much. I don't really do anything extra to my teeth, anything out of the ordinary, other than the biggest change that I made was I mouth tape every night religiously. And I've been doing that now for probably 5 years. Okay. And so you can see how just by reducing mouth breathing protects my teeth and my mouth and my gums. And that continues to get better and better and better. Amazing. Never would have thought it. I mean, when I first learned about this whole concept of mouth breathing, I'd never heard of it before. And I discovered it because I was snoring so bad that it pushed my wife into the other bedroom for years. And we slept in separate bedrooms. Love it. Love to hear it. I love that. I love hearing when other people love the product. And just, I love how life-changing it is for people. Because it is, right? I mean, most people who mouth tape and love the product have a life-changing moment and a life-changing experience by mouth taping. And so, yeah, absolutely. So because my wife and I were sleeping in separate bedrooms, I had this moment of what do I need to do to work on myself, to work on my sleep? Because we had a low point in our marriage. We had a low point in our personal lives. And so when I did a ton of research online, it's the kind of research where you go into Google and you're like, how do I stop snoring? And you think you're going to find the answer on the first page, but it's just a bunch of products. But then you have to go to like the third page. Nope, don't see it. And then you go to the fifth page, and then you go to the sixth page of Google, and then you find something. And that was when I found it. So what I found was it was an excerpt of this experiment from a best-selling book. And this best-selling book was by a gentleman named James Nestor. And he wrote a book called Breath. And it was a New York Times bestseller. And in this book, in this part of the book that caught my attention was this experiment that they did. So they wanted to find out what would happen if we plugged our nose and we only breathe through our mouth. So they go to Stanford Medical Center, one of the most prestigious universities in the world. They go there and they plug their nose for 10 days. And they wanted to record anecdotally how they felt, as well as the doctors we're going to record all of their tests. So they go, plug their nose, and then they proceeded to go through this experiment, and they started snoring like crazy. They developed sleep apnea. The oxygen in their blood plummeted through the floor, and they felt horrible, terrible, like they wanted to die. It was so bad. And then they got to the end of the 10 days. They unplugged their nose, and they mouth taped to force themselves to breathe through their nose at night. And after one day, everything went away. So when I read that, I thought, holy smokes, you're kidding me. You mean to tell me that breathing through my mouth has been the issue the whole time? Like, it's that simple? I mean, I've been an athlete my entire life, as you can see on the wall here. These are my jerseys. Football was my first love. But I'd been an athlete my whole life, and my coaches never taught me this. My coaches never taught me that we should be breathing through our nose and not our mouth. At least mine didn't. And it's probably because I was a football player, right? When we're a bunch of grunts on the gridiron, we don't exactly maybe think about some of those things the same way that maybe a track or a cross country, runner or a coach might think about it. So when I read that, that changed my life, because then I went down the rabbit hole of discovering mouth taping. And when I discovered mouth taping, and I mouth taped for the first time, and I woke up the next day, I couldn't believe the amount of energy that I had. I felt like my teenage son. And when I woke up and I had that energy, anybody that's ever done this before and they've tried mouth taping, you realize how amazing, like, this is how you're supposed to feel. In fact, that's Gary Brecka talks about this, right? Whenever Gary Brecka works with somebody and he gets them back on track and people say how amazing they feel, Gary will say, no, you don't feel amazing. You just feel normal. This is how you're supposed to feel. And when you mouth tape and you've been breathing the wrong way for so many years, you finally realize this is how it's supposed to feel. And so when I experienced that, of finally breathing the right way and getting great sleep, this is how I'm supposed to feel. And then that sent me down another rabbit hole of, I'm an entrepreneur and I love building things. And I love building things that are close to me, that impact me. I ran a business for 16 years prior to this that was involving sports. And I built that business, and then I sold it. And then when I discovered mouth taping, then I knew I've got an opportunity to start another business that I can inspire men to change their lives. And I was really, at the time, I mean, I still am. I love Liquid Death. I love the new shorties, by the way. Mike, if you're watching, if you're out there, phenomenal job. I love the shorties. I didn't particularly like the big tall ones because I felt like I didn't drink all of it, and then I would be throwing away all these cans of water. But at least now with the shorty, I can drink all of this and not feel like I'm wasting any water. So, but I was really inspired by what Liquid Death had done with the brand. This is the biggest commodity on the planet, water. And yet Liquid Death had built an amazing brand that resonated with people. People loved it. And I love it. It's just cool. It's amazing water, no doubt. It's a great product. But I love the brand. I love and who'd ever thunk that you can walk into Target and see a brand called Liquid Death sitting there. Half the time they've got these huge stacks of Liquid Death right when you walk in. So, but I was inspired by that idea of creating a brand around something to inspire men to mouth tape. Because let's be honest, what's inspiring about walking into the pharmacy and grabbing some 3M micropore tape or surgical tape? It's not very inspiring. It's not a story that gets any man to go out and start putting tape on their mouth. It's really not. Okay. And so we built this brand around the idea of like, we're going to create this really cool brand that inspires men. It starts a conversation. It gets your attention. Because let's be honest, hostage tape, it's going to get your attention, right? You're not going to forget seeing hostage tape come across your feed, and you're going to wonder, what the hell is that? And so creating this brand then was really kind of the magic behind it all. And I was inspired to name it Hostage Tape because I used to warn my kids. So when I started mouth taping, it looks wild and crazy, right? If you've never seen it before. And so I used to say, hey guys, if you bust into the room and you see me, I'm going to warn you, it's going to look like I'm being held hostage. So don't freak out. I'm just mouth taping. Because you look like you're being held hostage. You look weird. And so, but then I realized the flip side of it was we're actually tapping into this core emotion people feel. People feel held hostage by poor sleep or their partner, and they don't know what to do. So don't let bad sleep hold you hostage. This became the brand and this identity, because at the end of the day, that's how we all feel. We all feel held hostage by snoring, bad sleep, our partner, and we don't really know what to do. And most of us don't want to go to the doctor, especially as guys. There's an issue with us. We're not going to go see a doctor. We really don't want to. It's just something that we've kind of all evolved into. And I come from a doctor's family. My dad was a doctor. I grew up in a doctor's office. And so it's kind of ironic saying that. But most of us just kind of either we deal with it or we try to figure it out on our own. And so naming it Hostage Tape gets your attention. It gets you thinking about it. It's polarizing. And look, let's be honest. Not everybody's going to love the name. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it, and that's okay. We're trying to not take ourselves too seriously here while also trying to actually change lives. Changed my life and inspired me to create something to help change the millions of people out there. There's 128 million households in the U.S., and over 71% of them are mouth breathing at night. Think about that. Think about how many people are mouth breathing at night and have this issue and don't know how to solve it, don't know what to do. They don't know that it could be as simple as just slapping on some hostage tape, and then their partner won't resent the hell out of them. And maybe they won't sleep in separate bedrooms anymore. And maybe they'll actually stop snoring. And maybe they'll actually feel great when they wake up in the morning. And maybe they'll actually not fall asleep at night because they're exhausted. And maybe they'll be able to make more money because they can actually do their job, right? They can hustle harder. So, all right. Now, let's demonstrate the product. How about that? All right. We're 30 minutes into this and I haven't even shown the product yet, right? Okay. So again, my name is Alex. I am the founder of Hostage Tape. We are the largest mouth tape brand on the planet. We've got over 100,000 users that use us every night. We're the official sleep aid partner of the UFC. We are partners with LA, standing for ENT. I don't know how to say your name. Corbrates? Corbrates said, have you taught school about this before? No, I've not taught school about this before. I've talked about this quite a bit, though, as the founder of the company. I'm not a doctor. I'm just an entrepreneur. I'm just a guy who had a problem. I snored my whole life. I was a mouth breather my whole life, got crappy sleep. And as a result, really hurt myself, hurt my relationship, hurt my marriage. My wife slept in the other bedroom. And then when I discovered mouth taping, now I don't snore anymore. My wife doesn't sleep in the other bedroom. And I feel amazing. And I started Hostage Tape to be able to inspire other men to change their lives too. Okay. So this is what hostage tape looks like. This is our hero. We also, for the ladies, we also have a pink version too. We created a really elegant, softer pink for women. But then we've got our black for men. And we've got a lot of women who they like the black. So basically you're gonna pull and pop. And here's what you'll notice. What you'll notice is that when you hear hostage tape, you think rigid tape, you think something that's going to cover your mouth and not let you breathe, but it's actually the opposite of that. Look at this. It is a flexible fabric that you can actually see through. You can even breathe through it. So it's really comfortable and it's not going to suffocate you. In fact, that's a thought that many people have when they think about mouth taping is, well, wait a minute. Am I going to suffocate? What if my nose gets stuffy? Right? So if you had to breathe, you could breathe with this on. Okay? And it's because it's stretchy, it's really comfortable. And by the way, you're not going to suffocate. Our body was meant to breathe through its nose. In fact, I've been mouth taping now again for 5+ years, and I've never not mouth taped. I've always mouth taped even when I'm sick, because what happens is when if your nose gets stuffy and it gets filled with mucus, what happens is then we open our mouth and then our brain tells our nose to continue to fill with mucus, and then our mouth opens. And so it's this vicious cycle. But if we actually shut our mouth, we force ourselves to breathe through our nose naturally starts to drain. Okay. So a whole lot of birds ask, is it better to use with nose tape? It just depends. Some people wear the nose tape, some people don't. So I've got a nose strip on right now, and what the nose strip is it's not just a piece of tape. A lot of people might think this is just tape. It's got plastic ribs in it that you'll notice. See how it creates a flex there? And so what that does is it opens up my nostrils. So it can help your nose breathing work better. Yes, if you have trouble breathing through your nose in general, like a lot of people will wonder about like deviated septums. So if you have a deviated septum or a little bit of trouble, putting that on can help. And try this. So take your fingers and put them in your nostrils and just open your nostrils up. That's what putting a hostage nasal strip on feels like. You'll breathe like a new person in seconds, as Andy Elliott would say. Andy Elliott, huge partner of ours. If you go onto his page, you'll see he's always posting videos about wearing nose strips and looking like a badass. But look at that. Again, comfortable, stretchy. And that's why this works so well for guys is when you have facial hair, I've got some stubble here, and regular like paper tape that's not very flexible or pliable. It doesn't work well with like inconsistent surfaces. And so this works really well with bumps, with hair, with stubble, all sorts of things. And it feels comfortable, right? Because again, when we're covering our mouth, it's one of those areas where when you put something over your mouth, you have like a fight or flight response and doesn't maybe feel comfortable. It's not naturally comfortable to have something covering our mouth like that. But putting this on and you get used to it, you really forget it's there because it feels so comfortable and it actually moves with your mouth. In fact, here let me pull a new strip out. Here, I'll put the pink one on. Okay. So again, I pull, I pop, peel, and then I'm going to put it on my face. What you'll notice is I'm going to rub it in. This is a mistake a lot of people make is they put it on and they don't rub it. So put it on and I'm going to rub it in, activating the glue. Mm-hmm. Notice how I'm able to move my mouth, right? So it's comfortable, okay? And it doesn't feel so restrictive and so weird that it gives you like a panic attack, okay? Now, for the people who might feel anxious, might feel like they're going to have a panic attack, just put some on during the day, like when you're sitting at your computer, writing some emails, right? Just put it on, or you're sitting at the couch, just put some on and get the feel for how it feels on your mouth. Just feel, just get that feeling, because it feels weird at first. It's not going to feel natural to have something covering your mouth like that, for sure. But then put it on, get used to it, and then you start to get your subconscious used to it. Because when your subconscious is finally used to it, then you're not going to rip it off. There's a lot of people who, if they've never done it before, they go to bed, they'll wake up with the tape off because they subconsciously ripped the tape off, just because that's kind of a normal response that we might have, like that fight or flight response to having our mouth covered. And then the nose strip here, again, what this does is helps open up the nasal passageway, so nasal breathing works better. And a lot of people, they'll wear this at night when they sleep. I love wearing a nasal strip when I work out. So when I go for runs in the morning, when I go to the gym, when I'm in the sauna, when I'm in the cold plunge, I'm wearing this, and it helps me focus on keeping my mouth shut and breathing through my nose. I can't go for a run now. I usually do like a 3 to 4 mile run every other day. I can't go for a run without wearing a nasal strip anymore. I feel like I can't breathe. And because I'm really focused on when I run, keeping my mouth shut and then breathing through my nose. You'd be amazed that if anybody, I would encourage you to try this. When you're at a place where people are running, like I love going to New York Central Park in the summer, and I like to go there. I like to run, but then I'll sit down and just kind of enjoy and people watch all the people that are running. And you'll notice how many people are just huffing and puffing away with their mouths open. And we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be breathing with our mouths open when we're running like that. Now, there's a time for it. If you're doing really hard sprints and you have to open your mouth, okay, there's a place for that. But in general, we should really be focused on keeping that mouth shut, only breathing through our nose. And it's difficult at first if you've never done it. It's an adjustment. It's an absolute adjustment. But what you notice is once you get used to it and you power through that initial sort of, you get this feeling of what's called air hunger in your body. But when you fight through that, then your body calms down, and then you're able to actually power through workouts better because you're getting more oxygen throughout your entire body. That's why you get that initial air hunger. Your body thinks, right? Because you have more CO2 building up in your body thinks you need more air. So it's tricking you. And then you just need to give it time to start getting more oxygen in, getting it circulating. And then when you push past it, then you can power through. So here's a trick that I do whenever I run. What I try to do, if anybody's ever done this for the first time and they're trying to nose breathe when they're going for a run, it's really hard at first. So try to pattern your breathing around your feet, your steps. So I try to go, so I'll go in, out, in, out, in, out, right, with your steps. That way then it's easy to focus on it, because if you don't, then it's really easy to panic and then not know how to stay in rhythm. And then you start mouth breathing because you panic and it doesn't feel right at all. So, Dylan, what's up? I see you, buddy. All right. So again, my name is Alex. I am the founder of Hostage Tape. We are the largest mouth tape brand in the world. We've got over 100,000 users. In fact, here, I'll show you this. This is one of our Shopify awards, kind of like a YouTube award. So every time you pass a threshold, they give these out. And this is actually about a year old. We had over 100,000 orders, and we've blown way past this, 3 times this by now. But we've got over 100,000 people who use Hostage Tape every night. Here's another product. I didn't show you this. Okay, so our our monthly packs of hostage tape, they look like this. They come in a pouch. There's 30 a month supply. We've got our nose strips here coming up, again, a month supply pouch. And what I showed you earlier was we have these great tins. They're these bedside storage tins. So when you get your hostage tape, you can take it out, you can put it in the tin, store it, put it next to your bed. You can also keep it in the bathroom, and you can travel with it. Put it in your bag. Now, the nasal sticks, okay, these are the hostage nasal sticks by Boom Boom. These things have been going viral all over TikTok. And so the founder of Boom Boom, John, he's a huge hostage taper, and he reached out to me and said, dude, we got to work together. And so we started selling Boom Boom sticks. They did so well that we decided to do a hostage nasal stick, right, by Boom Boom. Now, we've also got, this is a new product here. We developed a hostage hold wipes. And what these are is a lot of people who might have trouble because you're putting tape on your face. And some people have different skin. Some people have greasier skin, dry skin, all sorts of different variations. Maybe the climate you're in makes it difficult. But these hold wipes, what they do is they help clean your nose, clean the skin. And there's also, it creates a film on the skin that helps the adhesive stick to the skin better. And it helps when you remove it so it doesn't hurt as much. These are actually very similar to wipes that are used by nurses and doctors when they're addressing skin for putting bandages on patients in hospitals. Very similar type of wipes. So we came out with our own, the hostage hold wipes. So again, if you're having any trouble with the nose strips sticking to your skin, your nose, obviously we want to make sure our skin is clean and it's dry, number one. And then if you're still having trouble, you can buy our hostage hold wipes to help clean and then apply a film. And these don't have any alcohol in it, so they're not going to be rough on your skin. And I believe they're just like $9 for a pack of 30 that you can add on to any one of your orders there. Here, I'll show this. This is cool. So when we first, all right, Anthony has a question. I'm considering buying these, the nose strip in the mouth tape. Do these actually work? Of course they work, Anthony. We wouldn't have a company. We wouldn't be the loudest Marte brand in the world. We wouldn't be the UFC's official sleep partner. We wouldn't be partners with the largest ear, nose, and throat clinic in the world or in California if this didn't work. Okay. 100% works. Hundreds of thousands of people are wearing mouth tape. They're wearing hostage tape every night. Okay. Again, official sleep aid partner of the UFC. Now, when I first designed it, so this was the original first strip that we designed. And you'll notice that it's not actually perfectly round, oval shape. It had an interesting shape to it. The first one, and then this was the first nose strip that we designed. Okay, and this was a second one that we designed, but this was the original shape. And what's funny about that is so the first samples that we had made, I get them and I'm playing with them, and I called up my business partner Ben, who designed all the creative and the branding and everything with the company. And so I call him up and I put the tape on and he looks at me. He's like, oh, it looks great, but how come you have it upside down? And I went, that's a problem. If I didn't know what the right side up was, how was a normal customer going to think what the right side up was? So at that moment, we decided we're going to make it completely... No, we designed our nose strips way before that dude. So, no, this is not a copy. He copied us. Yeah, good luck with that, dude. So, that was when we decided to make it completely oval. So that way then it was easy and nobody would ever be confused at what was the right side up or not. And so then the new shape of hostage tape was born. And that's where we are. So again, my name is Alex, everybody. I am the founder of Hostage Tape. We are the official sleep aid of the USC. Is it hard for anyone else to hear him too? I don't think so. I think my yeah, we've got the, you might just not have the audio turned up. I've got all the microphones plugged in here. Yeah. This dude's just being a troll. All right, so we have over 100,000 users around the world, folks. We are the largest mouth tape brand in the world. Okay. The official sleep aid of the UFC. We are official partners with the LA Center for Ear, Nose, and Throat. They are one of the largest ENT clinics in California. Now, what I love about this, and what we hear most of our customers talk about, is that number one, it's going to stop and reduce snoring, right? Exactly. It's going to stop and reduce snoring for most people. It stopped my snoring, and then it's beard friendly, right? We showed the product earlier, how it's stretchy, works really great with facial hair, and it's life changing. What's funny is, for people who haven't tried it, it's hard to understand just how life-changing it can be for you because it's so simple. But it's one of the reasons why when you actually, so where can I buy my own pack? Go to hostagetape.com, hostagetape.com, and you can buy a 30 pack, or there's a buy two get one free. When you go to the homepage, there's a buy two get one free. There's a 90-day supply for the price of 2 months. Or we've got our Black Friday deals. They're dropping, I think, at the end of the week here. We've got some amazing Black Friday bundles, different bundles of mouth tape, some nose strip. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we ship all over the world. Absolutely. Ship to Los Angeles. Totally. In fact, I mentioned earlier, right? We're partners with the Los Angeles Center for Ear, Nose, and Throat, the largest ear, nose, and throat clinic in California. They're our partners. A lot of their patients come in, and if they feel like they're patients who should be mouth taping, they'll recommend using hostage tape, 100%. So, absolutely. All right, so let's talk real quick about who uses hostage tape. I love talking about some of the people who use us, and then we're coming up on our hour here. So Joe Rogan, huge user of hostage tape. We've been a sponsor of Joe's Pod as well. Erling Haaland, probably the greatest soccer player in the world. Erling. In fact, when he was using hostage tape, he did a story with it, and I didn't know who he was at the time, but half my team they're huge soccer nuts, and so when they saw it, they told me who he was. It was pretty amazing. We've got Mark Consuelos, live with Kelly and Mark. Huge hostage tape user. He's talked about us numerous times on the show. Andy Elliott, the #1 sales trainer in the world, and his whole team, the Elliott Army. Troy Aikman. So if you guys are going to watch Monday Night Football tonight, just know that Troy is rocking hostage tape every night. Get Christian. I mean, I'd love to get Ronaldo wearing it. I think the question is does he even need it? I mean, because remember, there are some people who don't mouth breathe at night. Now, statistics say otherwise. Statistics tell us that over 70% of people are mouth breathing at night. So, all right, so somebody says, is there any problem with the stickiness wearing off? The reason I ask is because I have trouble with dry mouth as a result from head and neck injury or cancer. So, absolutely. So, go ahead and try it. Try a month's supply of it. And it's It's a consumable. So it's not like you buy one piece and wear it every night. It's one piece per night. So you'll get, when you get a month supply, there's 30 pieces in here, and you'll wear one piece a night and then throw it away and then put on another one the next night. Okay. But do the buy two, get one free. Then you'll get one of the best values there. Or Black Friday's coming here at the end of the week, folks. Huge bundles, amazing offers for some. It's 50% off. You're going to get 50% off bundles. Okay, so stay tuned for those. All right, who else? We've got Chris Bumstead, C-Bum, probably one of the greatest bodybuilders of this era. Huge hostage taper. Now, I'm a Schwarzenegger guy. I grew up in the 80s, so I love Arnold. But C-Bum, Chris Bumstead, phenomenal young talent. Huge hostage taper. Gary Brecka, Superhuman Protocol. He's rocking hostage tape. He'll recommend hostage tape to a lot of different patients and people that he helps. Mark Bell, huge in the weightlifting, powerlifting community. The inventor of the slingshot. Mark's really one of the reasons that so many people kind of know who we are, because he handed our product out to a lot of the guests that would come onto his show, The Power Project. Tom Segura, funny dude. Bert Kreischer, just as funny. The Machine. Pete Holmes, super funny. We got a lot of comedians. Sebastian Maniscalco. I love Sebastian because he's on tour right now, and he does a bit about hostage tape in his act on stage, talking about us. We've got Kyle from the Nelk Boys and the whole Happy Dead team. Those guys are rocking us. We were mentioned on Love is Blind. Garrett from Love is Blind talked about us on the show. Biggest rallied show on Netflix. And then Sam Hubbard, the defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals. And then a whole bunch of other athletes. Anytime we get, especially right now in football season, I'm a football guy. Anytime we get NFL players who start using hostage tape, we always send a care package to the whole locker room. So the whole locker room starts using it. The Bengals, the 49ers, and a whole countless others who've been exposed and are getting better recovery, better sleep because of hostage tape. So remember, folks, don't let bad sleep hold you hostage anymore. Stay tuned. We got some huge Black Friday, 50% off bundles coming any day here. All right, folks.